Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. We're here in the annoyingly sunny Torvus Bog. Call me old fashioned, I liked the rain. I guess I lived in one of the rainiest cities in Europe, I'd possibly argue. Glasgow is very rainy. I lived there for too long and now I've become accustomed to the rain. Last episode, we obtained power bombs, and this episode we're going to be exploring around to see what we can do with these power bombs. We're in Torvus at the moment, but here's something sneaky. Oh, elevator to Agon Wastes granted. Yes, there's sneaky little sideways that connect each world without needing to go necessarily through the Great Temple. So, let's take the transporter to Torvus. Agon, not Torvus, idiot. So, in order to get out of here as well, we need a Seeker Missile again, which is why we couldn't prematurely use this to get to Torvus. It didn't work, wonderful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again. There we go. Sometimes the Seeker Missile, as you can see, is a bit finicky. Now, here we are in the Transport Center, so that's kind of where we are relative to Agon. As you can see, we've explored almost all of Agon. There's that bit there that we haven't, that little bit there, and that little bit there, which is what we'll be doing this episode. There's also a fair bit of Dark Agon to explore, and that's what we're going to begin with. So we're clearly in a half-pipe area here, so if we drop down and boost straight up, and whoop, oh, not quite. Half-pipe boosting still seems to be a bit of a... It's a fine art, which I've yet to grasp, despite playing entirely through this game and Metroid Prime, which has the same thing. I think Corruption has the same as well, multiple times. Still never quite grasped when is best to boost. I think it's when you're on the way down. There you go, nope. Or is it when you're on the way up again? See, that's the thing. That feels like it's... there you gotta go. When you're kind of on the downstroke. There we go. So, up here, we have a Dark Portal. So let's head over to Dark Agon Wastes. Well, that was easy. There's a missile expansion. That's what I was talking about last episode. Sometimes they're super easy, whereas sometimes you got to really work for them. So we're going to stay in Dark Agon Wastes, and we're going to head over to the Judgment Pit. So here, what can we do that we couldn't do before? Well, if we go over here to where there's the statue of this child hero up here, there is a green door, which of course we were unable to open before. And apparently I'm also unable to open now, but that's not due to any restriction on our equipment at all. That's just due to my own moronitude. Not a word, certainly should be. So now this brings us to Warrior's Walk. At the end here, there's a cheeky little hidden secret. If you scan the floor, you'll find out that there's a fair bit of telluric alloy in it, which means crack it open, and there's no easy way to do this. Just hop down, suck up the pain from the Phazon, and towards the end you will grab a missile expansion. Now, well... dear me, what do we do here? So, we can go ahead here, through this green door, and this takes us to somewhere we've technically been before, which is the Battleground. So this kind of connects up a few sections of Dark Agon Waste that weren't connected before. So, now we're going to head, actually not to anywhere, we just opened that way, but back there to the junction site. So here, once we get to this section, you'll notice there's now a spider rail we can access. Use a bomb slot, and that little module in the middle will rotate around, which allows us to drop down and grab a missile expansion. Wonderful. So now I'm going to attempt, whether I do this or not will depend on how cool I am at editing, but I'm going to attempt to do a really cool transition, because what we need to do is we need to head back to this exact same room in Light Ether. So, activate. How did that look? Was that awesome? I really hope it was. If I'm even a few pixels off, that might look garbage. Or it might just look garbage anyway, but I think it may look cool. So, what we need to do here is first we've got a few shitey aero troopers to kill. Easiest way I find for these guys is 3 missiles. You can kill them with a super missile, but obviously that's 5 missiles, whereas 3 missiles only costs 3 missiles. Have I got some power bombs? I've got 2 power bombs. Wonderful. Why would I need power bombs, you ask? Well, there's a wall over here, which is made of denzium. So, let's crack through that with the old power bomb. And that gets us a kinetic orb cannon. Make sure you're holding Z when you go through that, because it takes you onto a tiny little spider rail system up here, which gets us a missile. Wonderful. Now we need to head back to, there's an area just behind Torvus Temple, which is called the Mine Shaft. Let's head there. Now, we have been here before, but all we did was get a energy tank that was here, because we couldn't get any further here, because now we are at the point where we can get further, because the only option was this Seeker missile door, which we couldn't open, but now obviously, wabam! Oh, that was in one. That's actually quite rare for Seeker missile doors. So now we enter Mining Station B. So we've got a few things going on here. First up, we want to bring up the scanner, and if we scan that, there's a kinetic orb cannon there. I ain't going to use it immediately, but we'll use it before too long. You saw something disappear there. This is... oh, this is going to be a real bugger to scan, because they like to phase between dimensions quite annoyingly. This is a Crowley, a dimension-warping bioform, able to phase out of local time-space. Target creature before it warps to damage it. You can also damage it using... you can target it using the Dark Visor. There's also a dead Luminoth here. Blind, possibly from birth. Damaged cybernetic augmentation is present. A sonic imaging device enabled the subject to see the world around him. And that's quite cool. We actually have that in real life. I was reading a fantastic thing recently about a guy who... right, this sounds really weird. So, so he's got a camera on his head, which records images, and those images are transmitted to him. He's blind, and they're transmitted by... you've got a little plate that's got electrodes on it, and I've come the wrong way. Didn't want to come up here at all. There's a plate that's got electrodes on it, and they kind of stimulate less and more to make a kind of grayscale image. Basically, if you imagine like a kind of grid of electrodes where some are stimulating more or less, you can actually show an image. That electrode is in his gob, and it stimulates his tongue, because the tongue is actually one of the most sensitive organs in the body in terms of like density per area, and so it electrocutes on a kind of subtle level different parts more or less, and makes an image which is basically electrically put onto his tongue. And after like a couple of months of wearing this, blind people, you can basically see using them. That whatever the camera looks at, as you move your vision, the electrical stimulation on your tongue changes, and apparently your brain just adjusts to that and forms a mental image. I don't think it's like a visual image. I always wonder about blindness, whether you actually, if you see through other methods like feel and sound and stuff like that when you're blind, does it still form a mental picture in the same way? I don't know. But it certainly forms something which can enable people with that to do like cycling and climbing and stuff like that. It's incredibly impressive. Anyway, weird biology rant aside, there is a bit of lore here. One of our final bits of lore from lore from the first phase, which is new weapons. Our studies of the Ying revealed the source of their attacks as dark energy. We built weapons to use this energy, thinking it could overload enemy targets and eliminate them. We soon learned our error, as the dark beam was not of great effect on the Ying. We then began to develop a weapon that used light energy. This weapon would dispatch the Ying with terrible efficiency, and indeed it does, unless you want to freeze people in place and shatter them with missiles. So, that was a bit of lore. Now what are we going to do? Over here is a bit of cracked wall, which should be obvious what we need to do with it, but anyway, yes, it's a load of secondary densium runs through the wall. Let's crack it in. And unsurprisingly, well, actually somewhat surprisingly, we get a door behind it, which just leads to a small room with missiles in it. I don't know why the missiles couldn't just be immediately behind the door. Apparently that was considered to be too obvious. But that's not all we can do in Mining Station B, because as you may have noticed, oh, didn't mean to switch to the dark beam, meant to switch to the power beam, we've got this thing. So this is an industrial-grade mining drill. The space pirates are trying to convert it into a weapon, based on analysis. So, we can use this to our advantage. There are 2 bomb slots around here that control this thing. Here is one of them, and the other one is at that U-bend that I was boosting around earlier. So, drop a bomb in that one, and that starts it spinning. Which is great. Except that's timed, and we want to do something while it's spinning. So what we need to do is come through here, had a weird voice crack there, and if we use this U-bend nicely, you've got a fair bit of time for this, so you should be okay. Boost up there, and hop to the left. Follow this all along, and eventually you will end up not where I wanted to be at all. I was thinking too far ahead. What I need to do is scan this. Second time I've gone up that U-bend in error. How many more times can I do it? Let's find out. Activate the kinetic orb cannon. That's what we need to do. So I'll go back and turn the bomb slot on. And then if we use the kinetic orb cannon, it goes in the same direction I was thinking of in my defense, and hop into this weird inverted bomb slot that can be a bit awkward because of the positioning of it, and activate that. While the drill is spinning, that raises the drill up, which, as you may have noticed, smashes through some rock there, opening access to a portal to Dark Ether. To access that, we finally do what I've clearly been attempting to do, or like some subconscious part of my brain has wanted to do for quite some time, which is use the U-bend to hop in there, and of course, while I'm trying to do it, I can't do it. That'd be way too easy, wouldn't it? There we go. Ooh, the burp really snuck up on me there. And here we dropped right through the head of the mining equipment and onto the drill itself. Turning around gives us access to the portal. Let's energize and head through. So, this brings us to a very new looking area, and weirdly we don't even come out where we were before, unless I suppose there might just be more sand in this room. So you've got a lot of, what are they called, little bastards, night barbs coming out of there, and there's also a dead Luminoth, which tells a bit of an interesting story. According to Luminoth records, the Ying used this area to conduct rites of passage. Young Ying battle fierce opponents to prove their mettle in combat. It appears that this Luminoth was one of their many opponents, which is a bit dark when you think about it. Through here is a large empty area. No, I mean that's true, but it connects round here. We can get, there's only, as you can see, one, wow. Well, there's two ways out of this room. One is obviously the portal by which we came in, and the other is there's a door to the side. Our plan is we need to come back to this room in the light world eventually, but we need to approach it from a slightly different angle in order to gain our target. So for now we come through here and, well, firstly, you go through here and you're going to take a lot of hurt. Because, well, I didn't take a lot of hurt there. There are some flying buggers, which we haven't really encountered yet, and we can't scan there, so I'll discuss a little bit more later. But we're in a room we've been to before, the dueling range. That is the kind of mining plaza in Light Ether. But we're behind this gate, and we have a portal here. So, let's head through the portal. And we are once again behind this gate, so we can only come through here basically via a jaunt in Dark Ether, which is quite cool because it looks like you should be able to get to this part normally, like you might have some way of cracking through this grating, but you don't. You've got to use dimensions to get through here, which I think is very cool. Going back through here, we basically just reverse what we've just done, but in Light Ether, and instead of an Ing Storm, which is what we faced in Dark Ether, in Light Ether it's Sand Bats. We haven't had a chance to scan an Ing Storm yet and won't get one for quite some time. But here's what we are after. Look at this bad boy. This is the Darkburst. And it won't fully make sense until next episode, but I really hate that name. I wish it was called something like the Black Hole. Allow me to demonstrate why. Because the game throws us some bastards here. So this is a charge combo for the Dark Beam. If you target an enemy, charge a Dark Shot, and then press D-pad down, you make a little dark hole. Black hole even. Which, for want of a better phrase, eviscerates them. And that was very effective. Now we've got a fair walk to do. What we want to do is head back to the main reactor. Not the main reactor in Sanctuary, but the main reactor here in Agon. Yes, two rooms with the same name. Very confusing, I know. So, if, like me, I'll bring the map again, in case you're not sick of it, you approach through the Sand Canyon, then you end up in a slightly different area of the main reactor. I mean, it's still the main reactor, but you have a keyberry here, Beastle, who was not here before. Well, he was here before, but you had to come from this angle to get access to him. I can go no further. Here in this reactor I go to join my fallen mate, J-Stull, in final rest. Though I die with honour, a shame falls on my house until the key I seek reaches its destination. May my brothers find my burden, that the way to the Sky Temple will be opened at last. I'm not sure when the Space Pirates came here or what this facility was beforehand, because this really looks like he was here after it became a Space Pirate facility, and I don't think they ever overlapped in that way. Anyway, we have a few options here when it comes to the Spider Ball. Because if I go up here, that's where I just came down, you idiots. There we go. We need to come up this one, and we get a brief spider section. What we need to do is boost onto that middle bit, and then prepare here. Once the stars are aligned, boost through, and then again boost through a third time, and a fourth time, and wait for it. Yeah, wait for the control rods and the gap to be aligned. And then once you're on this final one, you just wait until it's lined up with the hole in the wall and boost through there. Wonderful! Crack through this with a missile, not a missile, a morphball bomb, and you get a missile. That's what I meant to do. Now, we need to reverse everything we just did. Actually, no we don't. We just need to hop out of here. And now we need to exit the main reactor. So we do that by, there is a lift somewhere. Where is it? If you really need to cast your mind back, this is where we fought what's her name? Dark Shitebag, Dark Samus, for the first time was in that main reactor there, because it's the Space Pirates Phazon reactor, which is why it's strange that there might be like dead Luminoth here. We don't want to go through that dark door. We actually want to go through this blue door, and we end up in the sand processing area. I have not cut because we still need to... oh, come back here. There's a turret shooting at me. Little bastard. Oh, these are weak Space Pirate turrets that die from a single missile. That's great. Not a missile, charge shot even. So, our goal is this window, which is designed to resist extremely high-speed winds. Weapons fire is useless against it. Seek an alternative method. Well, we have an alternative method, which is we're in a half-pipe section. So, we need to use the boost ball, and we need to hop up to the right here. Let's try that again. You need to hop up to the right. There we go. So we've got this little hole. Once we're up in there... Oh, it stopped me halfway through. That was weird. We have a bomb slot, but it won't immediately work. We need to first activate it. Sand drain control system online. Energize the nearby control slot with a morph ball bomb. You know how this goes by now. Let's activate the sand drain. So, with that done, yes, we never actually cracked through this thing. We did just, as the game suggested, find an alternate way around it. So, through here... Oh, we stopped something halfway through there. Oh, it might just be the angle. I might just be holding the wrong button on the nunchuck. I don't entirely know. But with the sand drained, we can now access these missiles here. Wonderful. We're going to stay within the pirate area of Agon Wastes, and we're going to head back to... I feel like I've been in this room more than any other. We're going to head back to bioenergy production. Well, I lied. I was actually thinking of another room. When I saw bioenergy production, I was thinking of the bio-storage station, which I did go to quite a lot. This is actually the room where we did... 2-in-1. The Metroid twofer. Wonderful. As you can see, yes, there's some Metroids here, which are problematic. But we can kill them quite easily with the old freeze and shatter combination. That is our goal up there. There's a green door. But it's a bit of work to get there. What we first need to do is come over here and scan this console. Power harnessing system online, processing racks are in last registered position. So that raises the racks back up. Let's crack through there. I probably should have done that with a light beam because I'm running a little low on dark ammo. Relatively speaking, that is. Ooh, power bomb. I will take those whenever I get. Only having 2 of them is very annoying. So, there is actually, throughout this room, there is a huge spider ball section. So what I need to do is head over here, which is where it starts, and you need to have raised the racks before you do this, otherwise it simply won't work. So you head into the ceiling here, and use the occasional spider ball to cross the ceiling section. Oh yeah. Whenever it changes camera angles, what your buttons do suddenly, well, what each direction on the nunchuck does suddenly changes. So here we need to use, as I've said before, the boost ball kind of whoop. Oh shit, propels you across. This is an awkward thing. If you start... There we go. It's actually quite hard to stop boosting once you've started. Oh, I did actually want to use a boost there. Now we've transferred onto the racks, and now what we need to do is head here, and if we boost there, we'll head straight towards the camera, which is to the green thing. To green door, even. Well, it is a thing, but the thing is a door. Yeah, once you've started holding boost, it's often quite hard to discharge that safely. Oh, this room is on fire, but it contains missiles. It's quite hard to discharge that boost safely while you're on spider rails without accidentally jumping off. You can kind of, if you drop a morph ball bomb, you'll stop boosting briefly, so if you press A and then quickly let go of B, you won't fire off into the wild blue yonder. Anyway, with that done, we've done everything we need to do in Agon for now. It's now time to actually, we've got a few more things we can quickly gather in the temple grounds and in the sky temples. So let's head back to the temple grounds and head to the temple assembly site. So here what we need to do is head straight into the Dark World. And our goal is right here to the right, is a secret missile door that we were of course unable to access last time we were in this particular part of the Sky Temple. Through here we then get to, well, the room is called Lake Access, so can you guess what happens here? We get through to another room, which is the Accursed Lake. And we have, first off, an interesting new scan here. This is a Dormant Inkclaw. Hibernating Impervious Darkling, targeting encased in impervious shell, currently in hybernetic stasis, which at least means it's not going to be necessarily a problem for a while. And then we've got a Huntering, so let's just wait for it to de-spook. And there it is. Nice charge shot, takes it out in one. If we bring up the Dark Visor, we've also got over there a Flying Ink Cache, which means it's time to get a Sky Key. So, that's overloading the Dark Visor, which means time to take the Dark Visor off. And it's in this world again, so hit it with another super missile. And it explodes, yielding its Sky Key. Let's jump over to it. This is a bit of a tricky jump. There we go. So that's a second Sky Temple Key. We've got 2 of the ones in the Temple Grounds now. Well, in the Sky Temple. Because remember, yeah, there's 2 in the Temple Ground, 3 in the Temple Grounds, and then 2 in every other area. And I think that's the last one we'll be getting for now. The rest I'll be getting after I've completed Sanctuary. So, we now need to head back to the Temple Grounds and head over to the Dynamo Chamber. So here we have this gate, which, if we scan it, is made of Denzium. We know what to do with Denzium, don't we? And through here we have another gate on the other side, and we also have a rock wall to the right, which when we scan it we find out is made of Denzium. And we know what to do with Denzium, don't we? Getting Deja Vu? You should be. Through here is a Power Bomb expansion. So this is the final bar on the visualizer, which hasn't been used for, what are we on now, episode 15 or something like that, and it's only just activated. But yes, we can get expansions to our Power Bomb capacity, which is really nice. And I'm going to be gathering a fair few of those before we return to Sanctuary, because we need Power Bombs fairly frequently, and having only been able to hold 2 is, for want of a better phrase, bloody annoying. So I'll be gathering some of those in our next episode. So thank you very much for watching. And I hope you'll join me next time for a little bit more gathering things around the Temple Grounds, and we've got a few more things to gather in Torvus before then heading back to Sanctuary and doing what we can. Bloody war wasps. Where are they coming from? Oh, I mean, presumably they're coming from a war wasp hive. Oh, there it is over there. Get fucked. I don't think that was going to hit. Wonderful. Thank you very much, and I hope you'll join me next time. Thank you very much, and good day. Said thank you way too often there, but, you know, there we go.